All right, so we've got a situation this morning where China is rumoring to have some stimulus coming down the pike. We'll see if it actually sticks, but it is a good, kind of call it lucky or good that BABA was recommended at 68 because it's popping up pretty nicely this morning and markets trying to digest this news.
This short clip is presented by Club. Club provides access to Samantha LaDuc and her team of professional macro and micro traders, analysts, and educators. Club is ideal for active traders, investors, and institutions who want Samantha's best-of-breed market timing calls across all asset classes and timeframes like chase, swing, and trend. Get the trade before it happens. Sign up Club now and get full access to daily live trading room with Samantha LaDuc, Slack trading desk with detailed analysis and trades, custom trade support when you need it, and much more. For more information, visit www.LaDucTrading.com/club.
So we have BABA with that 68 level of monthly support, needs to hold, obviously, to move up. We got Keltner channel right here. It's already slightly above as far as price. And then we've got the 10-week coming in. So that's really ultimately the level we need to get back and stay above, right? So we can have these bounces into the 10-week and then just get destroyed, have these nice bullish engulfing candles that then move into the 10-week and then get destroyed. But BABA at 68 happens to be the IPO price. You can't see that, but that's literally far 2014. So at least it makes sense for a bounce. I'm not sure if we're going to get this resumption of a move again from this was literally hit a low of 58 back in October of 2022 before all that massive stimulus came in. And it ratcheted all the way up to 120 on that lovely stimulus. Also, by the way, Bank of China, PBOC, did do stimulus. It wasn't until October 27th, and I know because I was sitting in front of the computers. They literally on Friday, the 21st, 22nd was Japan, and then the following Tuesday was China, and then they did follow through. So this did hit that 120 where tons and tons of puts come in. But anyway, the point is we're getting a very strong bounce, just to let you know. 73.43. I don't know if you can see over here, but see how this is the weekly time frame. All right. And I just put this up here. We got to get above 73.43 on the weekly. Now, look, if I switch over here, it's exactly where we are. Makes sense? This is on an intraday. This is pre-market where it's 73.24. The point is, oh, I got the wrong one. Yeah, there we go. 73.43. That's the same time frame. 6 and 6. Just so happens that number one also has the same kind of thing, right? This was a level where we needed to stay above. Remember when we had this big bounce? I said this is where we need to make sure we do not break down. And then we had to follow through to the 10-week, tagged it, and then reversed. All right, so we've got the China plays in play. That's pretty much it in a nutshell for right now. So the leading ETF, it's kind of not a surprise, is we've got KWEB, and then of course a lot of solar companies are China based. Probably going to have some resumption of the EV space, China EV. Sorry about that. So we got China themed chases to potential swings. Remember, they need to follow through with this announcement, and it's not a huge amount relatively speaking, but it's definitely putting a potential floor. And I do think he's going to want to follow through this. Honestly, I don't think they want to see this floor. I don't think they want to go through this floor. Let's just put it that way. So we have our bounce here in China related plays, a lot of solar plays too coming up off the ground. You can see it's just clearly leading. So kind of that's the focus for today, this morning, no question about it. You can see the dollar yen with its BOJ announcement was a nothing burger. Okay, so they just, as I mentioned in market thoughts and here, I think they just kicked the can a little bit. They've got time. They're going to not announce any normalization, first of all, before a Fed and Treasury event. No. But they also have their annual spring wage negotiations. Yes, that's the expression, spring wage negotiations. So let's see what happens. But you know that this 50-week is support. 50-week is support. So if we really get going, and we did have a nice kind of doji sandwich here with candles, which is just a fancy bullish term, that this bar would likely equal that bar and came all the way up to 148.80. So pretty decent move. And it's sitting here and it's above, again, 10, 21, even the 30, which is, impressive. So here we are. BOJ did nothing in regards to changing their plan. But again, it wasn't expected. They're not going to do that before Fed and Treasury get through their announcement with QRA and such. So we are still very bullish, though, above that 145. And that's all there is to say about that. So a little shake and bake, but it's stabilized. Short term, we can have a little chop in the market this week. In fact, Goldman says CTAs are going to sell the price in, indiscriminate kind of folks. So it is likely going to have a little shake and shimmy this week. All right, gamma environment right now is pretty supportive between 48.50 and 4900, while the downside 47.90 is the critical level for gamma. Okay, so 47.90, but we're pretty supported right up until that 4900. But it is likely choppy, because Goldman is out saying we have CTAs modeled long, 129 billion of global equities and 54 billion of US equities, which, by the way, is not like a glaring amount. Anyway, per our estimates, CTAs are sellers of equities in every scenario over the next week. So big picture, if China does stimulate, that's a macro trigger. If Yellen does kick the can down the road, that's a macro trigger. And Fed cuts, that's a macro trigger. We're going higher. This week, not so much. Make sense? Good morning. Definitely hit me up with any questions you have in Zoom Q&A, and also have a look, market thoughts, which I posted. I know it took a while and I didn't edit so thoroughly, but long story short, we had this resumption higher, Apple, on the TSM earnings and SMCI, and all that was very dramatic. And basically, we definitely have strong price action in NASDAQ and SPY. Underlying breadth has only marginally improved. So there are still fewer stocks participating in this incredible rally, which creates a divergence, but it doesn't mean it's bearish. Remember my big long post, overbought but not broken? Same. So either the rally broadens out, which is, think small caps, or the 1999-esque move in big tech semis creates a FOMO market where NQ futures continue to be max long as the 10-year futures continue to be max short. So this has not unwound yet. We need a trigger. We need a macro trigger. And again, China, Fed, and Treasury. What's the trigger? They're all likely pulling the lever for higher. Fed is a little bit trapped. I actually think they have to cut. Okay, so Tuesday, we had it last night, actually. So, our Tuesday, it doesn't matter. They're done. Bank of Japan did nothing. We do have risk getting created potentially above that 150. We're not there yet. We definitely hit my 10-year 4.2. We have not hit my US dollar 104.30. And I still expect that to happen at some point between now and FOMC. We already know about Bitcoin. It looked like poop. That's a technical term. That was Monday last week. Basically, it has worked, and GBTC has worked, and a lot of longs have worked. And I still haven't done my write-up on BTU, but also putting this together. Yes, I still think we're going to have cuts, long story short, even if the consensus is it's falling. It's gone from 79% to 46%. It's waning. 2-year yield, the 2-year Treasury note is looking a little soggy there. Got a little bit more. I think it can fall. And just remember, Fed drives the front end of the yield curve, which I see coming down, and Treasury drives the long end for the most part. And I don't expect she issues more longer duration coupons, which is more bearish, until after the Fed has cut. So I think we're going to get, again, more support. We do have options flow that is window of weakness, which Sem describes. But remember, he's talking between January OPEX and March OPEX. We're talking 2 months. So we got 2 months to get a trigger. So don't be using your weeklies expecting. We need a trigger. But in the meantime, in the in-between time, it is fascinating how cheap VIX has become. Read this if you have any, interest in understanding why VIX is the cheapest it has been in 15 years. I didn't even know that. Anyway, this is an excellent article if you're really into the weeds of wanting to understand VIX pricing and obviously its impact on SPX. Okay. So when we get, this is it. When we get selling, we will have some outsized moves in VIX. There's no question about outliers revert with velocity. And right now, it's getting dangerous. It's definitely getting dangerous. But the problem is even an outsized move is likely still going to be sold in VIX, I'm talking about, or bought in the market. So the systematic leverage is very high. Remember how I said if we get a 0.65% drawdown in SPX? Remember the days where I was like, I'm looking for this, because we haven't had an intraday range for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then we did, and the market pulled back. Okay, so now it's 2%. And that's a lot of forced selling if we get it. So that's really, really key number. We've not been, before, we weren't allowed to pull back more than 0.65%. I was noticing this. It was like every time we got there, we got supported. Remember that? It was amazing. Once we broke it, I said, hold on to your hat. We're going to get some volatility. And we did. This is now the level. You get 2% in selling, we're going to have some forced selling. Very important. I think that is very helpful. Okay, so higher VIX and higher SPX. That's kind of the danger game, right? So that when we do have this big force selling, it's going to be of size. So this is a whole bunch of stuff that I grab because I love quants and their brains. And, I just don't think like that, or I don't track like Nomura with caller dealer positioning, or Goldman reminding that, hedge funds are right now, net sellers. But again, how much are they selling? So yes, it is. We are grinding higher, and they are selling it as we go. There's no question about that. But we're looking for going with swimming with the current than against it. And right now, stuff's moving higher, but we absolutely can get some shake and bake. And that's why I put this in here, like I did, over here. That this week we got the CTAs with about, they're 56 billion long, and they will be sellers regardless. And that's why I watched the dollar yen so intensely, because we did get back up. Remember this Keltner channel? Look at that support. There's the 50, boom, doji, boom. That's a doji sandwich, gorgeous, right above this 148 area. We stay here, we're heading up to 150. And you know what happens up, in that neck of the woods. This is where intervention comes in. We get above that, oh my, we have some more risk coming in for sure. In the meantime, BABA is digesting beautifully, up 6%. So here's my suggestion. Again, this is definitely a beautiful, remember this bullish engulfing? We had 2 weeks of follow through until we hit our head, This is very much policy driven. This will be very swing worthy. If we get real policy stimulus from China, we will do this kind of thing. No joke. But we got to get follow through. And that's not just a rumor, but they actually follow through. So right now, market is all excited. We've got a nice stabilization, bullish engulfing right off that 68 monthly support prior IPO. Beautiful. So this is starting to work, but we still have to get above 73.43, the 10. I would say this is heading to 79.66. I think that's where it's going to hit its head. Maybe digest, move up to 83, digest, move up to 86, really give it a lot of work, meaning the bulls, give them an enormous amount of pressure here, because there are lots of sellers up here who have been buying on the way down, expecting China to bottom. And now it may, if they really get the China stimulus. So here's an idea. If you bought some calls or a call spread, because this is definitely puts are getting monetized at that area, right? And now rumor of China stimulus is going to create that scampering for calls potentially, but more importantly, the covering of the puts, right? So I know clients who are short into this, and today they're going, oh my goodness. So this is always the risk. You get into a monthly and news happens. It's just fascinating. Anyway, this is the IPO from 2014. It's having a very strong bounce. And here we are. We're not even above 74 yet. So it's a good start. That's all I'm going to give it. It's a good start. And it is out of a squeeze on this, out of a sloppy Bollinger Band squeeze. I think it's going to get chased up to 74. Then we'll see what happens. But you can see it right now. There's energy coming in. Momo this morning is all about BABA. So we're hitting the 74. That's perfect. Like 73.43 on a weekly. I personally think it's going to follow through to 79.66 in the next few weeks. because China's not going to come right out tomorrow and say, nope. Plus, that's just a really nice bullish engulfing. I think this is going to get chased. It's getting chased. Why is Tesla doing better? China stimulus. They do, is it 33% of their revenues in China? I mean, all revenues are from China. And I mean, their manufacturing base like Apple. Speaking of Apple. Okay, but this is just sideways 209. But this is why I think it's doing well today. Lead coming up off the ground. Hold on. Neo, hot fire flames. That's a protracted downtrend trying to pop up. Looks a little bit, yeah, you got a lot of plays here that are trying to come up, but they're going to have some sellers, right, that are very happy to get out. So I would say careful on this one. 654. JD, yep, JD is another one that's popping up. But again, these are protracted downtrends, like, oh, really, 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 really protracted downtrends. So if this can get back inside the Bollinger Band and it's trying, yeah, this will start to move. Oh gosh, I've got too many here. Let's leave it over here again. But it's right now, again, really, you got this. It's got to stay above 2251. Baidu has great options. This is very true. And it has a great bullish engulfing. But guess what? It has to get above this 106.89. Beautiful, though. It's like I said, all of these right now are looking chased because of the stimulus news, and Bank of Japan didn't do anything. But ultimately, we need real news. Like I remember on the 24th of October, 2022, and they said and it was like a Monday after BOJ had done its intervention. Swear to God, they were like, yeah, we're thinking about it. And that stock started to move in China. They stopped going down. And then they followed through on the 27th, and it was in fugo. It was just in fugo. So I don't know if they're going to follow through, but there's a nice swing trade here if they do. Okay, so Archno likes SE. Oh, that looks actually very supported here. Why? C Limited. I don't even know what this is. The better trade is SE on China bounce reason. All other Asian stocks like CPNG have been sold off only because China was weak. Well, I don't know if it's a better trade, but it's one of many, right? So this is already in a, ooh, nice. It's been holding, glory be, August, September, October, November, December, January. That's it. It needs to get above 13.9, and then it will be hot fire flames. But this is still, oh, look at the calls that just came in. Sorry, but that's funny. Archna, look at this. Look at the 8,500 contracts that just came in for the $40 calls, which are right up here for 50 cents, where everything else is like a few hundred. Yeah, that's a great. All right, so you got 8,500 contracts. They're literally 49 cents, and they are the January. All right, well, then it better follow through, because that doesn't give you so much time. That's literally this week is what they're playing with. It's literally this week is what they're playing with. Anyway, that's what's going on this morning. It is nothing but chasing China stocks. All right, so 74 is meeting some resistance. Not a surprise on that, Baba, by the way. So if you were in short duration calls, I didn't even finish my sentence. I would take those off, honestly, and do something new. Like do a call spread while it tries to figure this stuff out. While we really, like, if you had directional calls, it screams higher 7%. Your IV explodes. You're doing great. But now it has to do the bigger work to get above 74 on the daily, to get above 76, 75 on a weekly. It's very, very productive, but you got a lot of shake and bake here. I don't know. I would convert this to a new strike. All right, so we have a rescue plan by China to put a floor in the market. That is a gorgeous candle on a weekly. Very, very, very pretty. We have Bank of Japan saying, nope, we're going to change nothing until we have to. And I think they're going to have to in the spring. Your questions. This is Tencent, right? So China regulators are, let's see, backpedaling from its plan to reduce how much money people spend on online video games after the proposal tanked video gaming company stocks. So you have NetEase and you have Tencent coming off. And by the way, they're very thin, wicked thin. They don't even have options, but I'm just saying this is the news. That's why I'm looking at it. So this is a full-on reversal plus the China quote unquote stimulus. There's going to be a back and forth on this, because even though they're fabulous starts, they have to follow through. This is getting inside the Keltner, all that jazz. Look at stochastics starting to turn higher. It has to have follow through, but that's a level to stay above. BABA is obviously easy to chase because it has so many beautiful options, but it's still sticking its head right into 74, but staying above. They're getting chased. It's gorgeous. There's another one, Billy, which is China and gaming. Remember how I just showed you Tencent and NetEase? This is helping. Wow, big volume came in to start the morning. It's definitely that was just chased, but it did have 6 million, which is way more than usual in the first half hour. Yeah, so now we have to see if we get any follow through with these. Again, XPEV also needs to hold this 955. Weibo is another China play. I'm literally going through my scan. This is what's going on. This is a very, it's a great scan of what's moving, and I can see where the big buzz is, which ones are moving the most since the open. Some of these are oversold bounces. Some of these are earnings. A lot of it's China. NEO, it's up to $6.66. Doesn't have a lot of energy in options, but it looks fabulous above 654. Interesting. Billy is up 5% since the open. BABA is up 1.7% since the open. Baidu is gorgeous, up 3.8% since the open. This is just these are beautiful candles. I'm going through Q&A to see what I missed here. It needs time, right? So this has a lot of the China plays and FSLR, which is not great, and ENPH, which is trying to come up from the ground. Let's see. Hold on. Let me just do this real quick. This is definitely a tougher one. We made it. We came back down. Dump. We started to have small caps move higher this week and the short basket. So the problem is TAN is a heavily shorted basket. So part of this is some China stimulus plays. The other part of this is just short covering. If both of those can come together, TAN will bounce hard. It's not looking ready. I would love to be convinced otherwise. This is a great place, by the way. It came all the way back down to 42. Yesterday, again, this was mostly short covering theme on Monday. Today's a little China stimulus theme. So I like it, but I would like it a lot more once it gets above 46 and change.
Subscribe to LaDuc Trading YouTube channel for more live trading room recap videos and other content.